Come join me as I make my very first sandwich bread. The first thing you'll need is a mixing bowl, and then you will add 2 tablespoons of active dry yeast. Next, you'll need 3 cups of warm to hot water. Next, add 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1 tablespoon of salt, which I forgot to add, but it didn't really affect my bread. But you'll want to add that here, and then mix everything really well. Then you will need 2/3 cups honey. So go ahead and squeeze that out and add it to your mixing bowl. You'll also need 4 tablespoons of melted butter, and then I combined those. Then you'll need 3 cups of bread flour and 4 cups of all-purpose flour. After you have all your flour in your mixing bowl, go ahead and mix for 2 to 3 minutes. Now the dough is pretty sticky, so I decided to go ahead and get mine out and knead it for about 2 to 3 more minutes. Next, you'll want to cover the dough and let it rise for 1 hour. Now your dough should be about double the size that it once was after an hour. If it's not, you can let it sit for a little longer. So I went ahead and floured my surface, and then it was time to check my dough. So the dough did double in size, but it was definitely a lot stickier than I was expecting, which I'm not sure if I should have added more flour or if I should have let it rise even longer. I'm not exactly sure, but it's definitely stickier than I think it was supposed to be, but it all worked out in the end. So this recipe actually makes 3 loaves of bread. So next I needed to divide my dough into 3 equal parts, which didn't really do it very equally, but again, it worked out. And here you can see that my little assistant needed a turn cutting the bread also. At this point, you'll want to have your bread pans prepped and ready. So to make it easier to get the bread out after it's baked, I like to put a piece of parchment paper down in each loaf pan. And again, this recipe makes 3 loaves of bread, so have 3 pans ready. And then once they're divided, you will take each section and try to shape it into the shape of a loaf of bread. And then you're going to put those down in your bread pans and get them ready to bake. Then, once they are all in their own bread pans, you're actually going to cover them with a towel for 1 more hour so that they can prove. After the hour, they should have risen a little bit more, and then it's time to bake. So preheat your oven to 350 degrees and bake them for 25 minutes. This first loaf that you're seeing, I actually only cooked for 20 minutes first and ended up putting it back in the oven for 5 more minutes just to get it a little more golden brown on top. Then just repeat the baking process 2 more times and you will end up with 3 beautiful loaves of bread. Then I let the bread cool completely, and as you can see, the bread was cooked through nicely. There's a nice golden brown bottom, and then it was time to cut into the bread. Now I will say that this bread ended up being a little bit cakier than I would have liked, which after researching, I think that means I probably needed to let it prove or rise a little bit longer, but honestly for my first loaf of bread, it turned out pretty great. But yeah, I am so excited to continue this bread making journey, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.